My story is about moving from isolation to connection, from self-focus to other focus, from alcoholic to achiever. I grew up in Bermuda in a good home, swimming and boating with lots of friends. My youth was idyllic, but as I entered my teens, I realized I felt different from those around me, always comparing and coming up short. I attended a strict all-boys grammar school where I did well at academics and sports, but at 15 began to seek the solace of drink and drugs, and my grades and attitude dropped off. Despite that, I won a scholarship to the University of Waterloo in Ontario and promptly flunked out my first year because I chose to drink instead of study. I came back to Bermuda to work in the bars and nightclubs. My life became a blur of beer on the beach in the day, working and drinking rum in the clubs at night. I was with people all the time, partying hard, and still seemed to be doing well. But in the quiet times, I knew this was not the life I had planned for myself. By now, I was leaving the nightclub after work to go and smoke crack in dirt floor shacks until dawn. To say I was confused and lost and lonely was an understatement. I was chasing connection with drugs and alcohol and ending up disconnected. I was on the way down. Disconnection was destroying me. My isolation from the world was complete, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. I contemplated suicide several times between 22 and 24, just to escape the pain and anguish brought on by alcoholism and addiction. I hit bottom and sought help from AA. There, I found people that I could relate to and who had what I wanted. From other AA members in the 12 steps, I learned a different way of living. AA showed me how to become whole by connecting with myself, with others, and with a higher power of my choosing. Dr. Carl Jung was an early influence on AA principles. He saw that alcoholics had a low-level spiritual thirst for wholeness of being, which they tried to quench with alcohol. He noted that condition could be overcome by a sudden psychic change or by a gradual spiritual awakening, coupled with an open and honest connection with others. He called this cure spiritus contra spiritum, which translates from the Latin as a spiritual experience to counter the addiction to spirits. So AA's 12 steps combine the best of medicine, therapy, and spirituality to where connection with others and a higher power is the key to recovery. I had to learn from scratch how to connect with others, how to be a member of a team, finally, how to find and relate to a higher power. As a result of my own spiritus contra spiritum experience, I stayed alive and began to grow up, learning to live and love all over again, this time without alcohol and drugs. Step 11 in AA calls for prayer and meditation. I had little experience of either. Fortunately, yoga had given me a broader view of a higher power, and I started meditating using the breathing techniques of Paramahansa Yogananda. I found this work to be intensely practical. I finally felt like I belonged. I applied to UBC Law at the age of 30. My terrible transcript from Waterloo was overcome, and I was accepted, although I was the first to get in with an undergrad in hotel management. Nonetheless, in my senior year, I was president of the Law Students Association. I articled in Vancouver and was called to the BC Bar in 1996. I returned to Bermuda to work as a corporate lawyer. My office was a mile from the crack house I used to visit and a few blocks from the police station where I spent many a drunken, disorderly evening. As a clean and sober lawyer, I could now help others by appearing with them in drug court or writing reference letters. Now that I was on track again, I began to expand my horizons. I trained as a yoga and meditation teacher and found that I loved contributing to the growth of others. I trained as a life coach and became certified to deliver several business and communication workshops, such as 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I continued to explore the boundaries of my own spiritual growth, from deep psychoanalysis to shamanic energy work. I sought out healers of all types. I have had experiences doing this kind of work that if someone else told me the same story, I would not believe them. Those stories are for another Pechakucha entirely. My search for connection included several week-long residential workshops where the use of experiential psychotherapy, meditation, and visualization created massive shifts in my ability to connect. It was after one such workshop that I could tell my mother that I loved her, something I could never do before. This new way of living, where I connect with myself, with others, and with God, this to me is wellness. I try daily to be the best I can be on that day, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And this always involves connection. Without connection to myself, to you, and my higher power, I would not be here today. Vacations have similarly involved journeys of discovery for me. I love yoga retreats and scuba diving in remote places, traveling with or seeking out kindred spirits who share the same curiosity and open-minded approach. That is indeed my bald head in front of that giant Pacific manta. I have learned to reach out more than halfway every time, to realize there's a little bad in the best of us and a little good in the worst of us, and to take life one day at a time. My continued focus on connecting with myself, others, and a higher power keeps me right-sized and centered. I continue to work as a lawyer, practicing wellness in all aspects of my life. I keep in touch with my friends and family and have the opportunity to be of service in many ways with many people, from crack addicts to CEOs, from novices to experts, and from alcoholics to achievers. I have found that once we connect with ourselves, with others, and with a higher power, our inner light can shine. And if we have cracks to begin with, that light will shine all the more brightly. Thank you very much.